to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Tyler Hymanson.
And... we have someone else with us, right?
We do. I am so excited to announce that we have our very first live child star check-in. He is here with us today. He plays Fu Yien in this movie. Sam Lee, actor and stuntman.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here, Sam.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're keeping that guest train rolling here on Sequel Rights. Sam, you were the actor in the movie we're talking about this week, Tremors 4, The Legend Begins.
I was.
Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of the process of you getting involved with the project and kind of what was going on with your life at the time before hopping aboard?
Well, I guess we can start with the history about how I got into the business.
Yeah.
I actually, as a kid, I didn't start with acting. I started with martial arts, and at that time, my coach was a stunt woman for Chuck Norris and Charlie's Angels, and so for a bunch of shows. During that time, a bunch of people came in and trained with us, and one of the Power Rangers at the time, Mike Chat, he saw me and was, liked my look, liked my skill, and asked me if I wanted to do commercials. Of course, I said yes. I asked my mom, and then it was pretty quick from there. I didn't really know what I was getting into at first, and it was pretty quick. Take some headshots, get some representation, and start going out for things. I think I did it for a couple years. Got some commercials and some national spots. And Tremors just was a random call. I went in. I didn't think I got it. Got a call back. Didn't think I did well on that either. And then got a third and a fourth call. So I guess they were really calling for me.
That's right. It was meant to be.
Wait, you had a fourth callback for Tremors?
I believe there was
Wow.
a final call. And it was just I think it was just a meeting and a confirmation that they were gonna stick with me.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, you're a huge part of the movie, so they probably really wanted to make sure they got a kid that knew what was up.
It was such an awesome experience. It really, really was. I was really new at acting in the whole business in the first place at the time. So I, to be honest, I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was really fun, and I did learn a lot. I basically learned on the spot, and that's the best practice you can get, right?
So how old were you when you were filming this?
Oh, geez. It was 2004. Was I 14, 15?
Nice. That's awesome.
How old were you playing?
We filmed in 2003, I believe, so maybe even earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was playing like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
Yeah, but, even now I haven't grown that much. I'm in the stunt world, more so than acting now. Mm-hmm. But all the stunts I do, a lot of it is doubling kids.
That's nice.
That's funny.
So before we go further into the movie, should we watch the trailer?
I think we probably should. Let's do it.
On January 2nd, unexplained noises, unusual disturbances, and unnatural sounds will finally surface.
They're coming!
Now, to battle the worst of the worst,
Are they following us?
this small town will recruit the best.
You're gonna hire a gunfighter.
Who might you be, sir? Black Hand Kelly?
Tremors 4, The Legend Begins, the exciting feature-length prequel to the smash hit Tremors, starring original cast member Michael Gross.
We stand our ground and fight to the death.
Whoa, we've gone back in time.
Back to the Wild West.
Just watching that trailer, I feel like I'm there.
Where did all this technology come from?
1899 Nevada.
1889 Nevada.
1889 Nevada.
I mean, 1899 Nevada is way different. Trust me, I know.
Totally different.
I've been there. It's way different.
Nevada could have had a flag by then.
Yes. We will get to that later because
Okay.
I have state pride, guys.
All right. So So we're back in the Wild West, but the town looks like the town we know and love, except it's called Rejection, Nevada.
Which is an amazing name. Like, I don't know why you would name your town that. But
It
works for the film.
A lot of people just prospectors and such back in the day had a lot of spite.
That's true.
So wait, the movie doesn't actually start right away in Rejection, right? It starts in the mine.
In the mine, which is
Yes.
outside of Rejection.
Right. I love this opening mine scene. Like
Yeah.
we talk. I feel like every movie we bring up parts where, like, the Tremors film dips further into horror.
Yes.
And this was one of them. And there's great things where, like, one of the miners is talking to his friend who's around the corner, and he just stops talking all of a sudden, goes around, and he's gone. Yeah, just like that. We're like, Tyler? Where'd you go, Tyler?
I also thought this was like the most horrific that this series has gone so far because you're in a dark mine. You've got a lot of sound going on. I liked it when I think Hefe was getting pulled up and then he pulls his body down and there's no head.
Yeah, that was great. That was like one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah.
So funny. So we get this kind of like horror reintroduction to
Yes.
the Tremors and what's going on. And the townspeople there, of course, are like, I don't know what is happening. The mine is closed now, and that's why everyone's leaving.
17 people died.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Off screen.
Yes. That's more than the entire population of Perfection in Tremors 3.
That's true. That is. So once everyone starts leaving town, when the mine closes down, and we start to meet, the people that are left in the town, I think you had a really good line, Sam, where you're kind of the voice of reason. You're like, why did we name this town Rejection? Like, maybe we need a better name.
Maybe it wasn't the best name.
I started listening to some of the commentary on the Blu-ray, and S.S. Wilson, the director, he talks about how you, like, totally climbed up to the top of that water tower, like, without any fear, and even he couldn't, like, get up there for too long, but you were just going up and down without any wires or anything.
That's so funny. It was that water tower was like my playground at the time. For safety reasons, I couldn't go up there alone. There was always a stunt coordinator. When we were shooting, I was safetied by a wire, had a line attached. But at the time, the director, everyone knew that I was a martial artist, and I got into film to show some of my martial arts. So, the second they gave me a chance to do something that wasn't standing and delivering lines, I was all about it.
Yeah.
So that was that's where good memories were.
Nice.
Yeah, there's definitely a very iconic shot of you sitting up on the water tower with like
Right.
Rejection Nevada up
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Like, I think that it's like it could be a poster frame for the movie. It's awesome.
Totally.
And also a good like parallel and constant between the Perfection water tower, and it's right outside Chang's Market, and it's something that's there in almost all the movies.
Yeah. So we meet, Fu Yien, who's you, Sam, and then we meet the parents that are both running the market.
Right.
And we've got Juan, who was the guy that was initially in the mine, and Christine, who runs the hotel and has red hair and has musical talent and might remind one of Reba McEntire.
That's right. This whole movie, I was like, wait, there's a hotel in Perfection, Nevada? What happened to the hotel?
Well, S.S. Wilson goes into that in that FAQ of Stampede Entertainment.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, what does he say?
It got run down after a while, and they tore it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Chang's Market survived. So, or at least
They said,
the facade.
on the commentary, he talks about how it's sitting in the same place where Nancy's house is now in the present day.
Got it.
And he was like, on the commentary, he was like, maybe we'll tell that story someday, but they never told, they never got to.
Okay. So, they're trying to figure out what to do, how to keep the town going, and they get a telegram from the owner of the mine.
A rich white man is going to come and solve all their problems.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. Someone from Philadelphia is going to come and problem solve everything.
Like they always do.
Like they always do.
So, I think right away in the telegram, we see that his name is Hiram Gummer. They keep saying Goomer. But that immediately signals to us that this is a relative of Burt
Right.
Gummer, who's been in all the other movies.
And by us, we mean Tremors superfans.
Yeah. But when he shows up, he's not really what you'd expect of Burt's relatives.
He's
The
like
man doesn't like guns.
He's like straight out of Mary Poppins or something.
Certainly not Philadelphia.
He's like the dad from Mary Poppins.
He speaks very prim and proper, and he's all dressed up, and he's got like 85 suitcases and
a bike.
Yeah, and a bike.
a bicycle, and he has the air of a man who pays everybody to do everything for him.
Right.
Pocket watch,
He
cufflinks,
sucks.
hat.
So he goes to the hotel to stay, and then happens one of my favorite sequences of the film, and a big one for you, Sam, is this cake incident in the hotel. So Christine's trying to explain, like, look, we got no food because no one's coming here anymore without the mine closed, so all I can make you is, like, beans. And he's like, you will make me a gingerbread cake. And she's like, ugh. But she makes it for him, and he eats all of it, and, like, poor Fu Yien is, like, serving him and, like, picking up his dishes, and I don't know. Do you want to talk about it?
That was a pretty fun scene to shoot. You know, we shot that one first, and then later on, I have a little get back at him.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I remember I was really excited to be sad on set that day. So I came in, I was, in front of the mirror. I was just, how do I look sad? Should I look more angry or should I look more pouty? I didn't know which direction to go, but at the end, just going back and forth with Michael Gross, who's a great actor, he just led me all the way. It was a great experience. That was all, it's just natural two-way talk.
That's so crazy that, like, just you as, like, you're becoming like, learning your acting chops and on the set with that and just showing up, like, I know how to do these stunts. I can hit a mark. I can do all the physicality. But for that scene, there's none of it. And that's the first thing you have to do and just say, well, I'm disappointed.
Exactly.
And to have someone like Michael Gross, who is fantastic, and we love him in these movies, but not known for maybe being the best actor in the world, but, like, it comes off so well, and I think it makes a lot of sense of just him being like, oh no, like, I just react off me, like, I'm gonna play this as heightened and crazy as I need to, so that you just be you and do what you have to do in the scene. It works so well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've never seen Burt do anything this mean. I know this isn't Burt, but this immediately, like, tells you that, because Burt has never been that mean, especially to, like, this tiny kid that's serving him cake, and then he's like, screw you, like.
He has some line about, like, if you can take advantage of someone, then do it. Or whatever. I'm saying that wrong, but
there's something interesting about him playing it as, like, he's not, it's something that Michael Gross is able to do, of where he's not evil, he's ignorant. Mm-hmm. And so he's saying it's something that he believes, but he's saying it with this air of false certainty that the audience can kind of see through. And the way that you play the scene, it makes it work in a way that makes him feel hollow, like the way that it's played off. And I think that it's just the setup of it. It's fascinating to me that you're, like, looking in the mirror being like, how do I look sad? Like,
yeah.
And
because the scene plays exactly what it's supposed to do. It's great.
Right.
And we see Hiram be a jerk in, 3 or 4 different ways. And I think every time he starts to see the error of his ways, it's through an interaction with you specifically, Fu Yien. Like, other people kind of, but all the big hits of where he's like, oh man, I'm a jerk, when you basically either kill him with kindness or sass him back or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
So
he gets totally owned by an 8-year-old.
Yes,
That's right.
he does. Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's definitely the biggest role that any of the kid actors have had in the Tremors films so far. Like, the other ones were kind of just like, collateral. They were there, but I mean,
I'm an annoying teenager, and
Yeah.
I'm annoying. Now I'm a real estate mogul.
Right. I was really lucky to have scored this. I really, it wasn't something I was expecting, but going along for that ride, it was, an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Even till today,
Yeah, and what was it like being, like, that scene with Michael Gross, but, like, you're in with all these, adult actors, like, throughout the entire movie. It's not like Eliz said, you're a major part of the film. It's not like you're only in the beginning and then you disappear. You're in all these major scenes. You're in this huge action set piece at the end. Like, what was it like being right in the middle with all those other actors?
It was definitely a big, there was a big learning curve, but, being there on set with the professionals, especially all of them older than me, every single person gave me advice. Every single person helped me out. I didn't feel, at any time where I was lost or, where I didn't know what to do. So, I think Steve took care of me, as far as direction, anything he wanted to see, he would personally come up to me, would coach me through it. So, I just hope I make them proud.
In preparation for it, did you watch any of the Tremors films? Or what did Steve say, like, hey, like, here's what you should do before you show up on set?
No, actually, I wasn't given any instruction to watch the previous ones. I was told that this was Tremors 4. I thought it was going to be a sequel. And then it ended up, as we went along, I started learning more and finding out that it was an actual prequel, a Western. I did, at the time I had already watched as a child the first Tremors, and I didn't know the second or third Tremors at all, And so when I saw, I was like, there was a fourth one? But when I got the script and everything, I was able to read through it and prepare myself through, the practice and the time that I had with the other actors, with myself, with my acting coach. I think it all came together pretty smoothly, and again, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
You mentioned working with Michael Gross and that everyone gave you advice. Was there any one piece of advice or one person that you had a particularly close relationship with, or anything you particularly remember?
I still talk to my mother, Lydia. She actually today is really close to me. Close to my heart. She's helped me a lot in terms of navigating the Hollywood life and the how to survive. She started out as a writer, but she's also a wonderful actress.
And she works a ton. She's if you have a favorite show, chances are she's been on it.
Oh yeah, she's got a little piece everywhere. But her and her husband's actually a stunt man as well. And till this day, he's basically my godfather, and in the business, he helped mentor me a lot.
That's so awesome.
That is so cool. That's so nice. Yeah.
It's just one thing led to another, and
heartwarming story there.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know where to go on with this movie. So we've got they're gonna go back to the mine.
Yeah.
And investigate.
They're gonna take Hiram, Juan Padilla, and a posse of random dudes. Right?
Yeah, whose names are Soggy, Brick, Stony,
Big
and
Horse.
Big Horse. Yeah.
Sneezy, Dopey.
I love the names. They're so funny. I was like, Soggy? Okay, whatever.
What? Soggy has an accordion.
Oh, right. That makes sense. I thought he would, and he did.
So they don't find anything at the mine, which is frustrating to everyone. So they decide to camp out for the night, and the accordion eventually ends up, attracting graboids. But one kind of visual gag that I really liked was that Hiram set up his teapot before any of this starts happening, and he puts it on the fire. But then the graboids come, and everyone's running around crazy, and they start figuring it out, and they're being all quiet, and then the teapot starts going off, and I'm just like, that's so good, because you a set it and forget it situation.
That's right.
And this is where we get introduced to a new part of the life cycle of the graboid, right?
Yes.
Baby graboids.
Baby graboids that come launching out of the ground, which is awesome.
Graboids.
Yeah.
Because they're smaller and because they have the little
Just like that.
crawlers, they can jump really
They're
high.
just like Muppet babies.
Yeah, pretty much. But they come shooting out of the fire pit, and there's this amazing scene where one of the guys is running away from the fire.
Oh yeah.
And two of them come from either side and hit him in the head and on the side, and he like falls over. I don't know how
That's
they shot
Big Horse
that.
Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually John Dixon is the stuntman that was playing Big Horse Johnson, and I actually reconnected with him later on after maybe 10 years when I was finished with college and wanted to get into stunts. I hit him up, and he runs a stunt service, and so I called him and we chatted, and I got my start in stunts from connecting with him.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That was another one of the shots that in all the behind the scenes footage they show over and over again, because I think it's like one of the iconic shots of the movie.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Just like these the two dirt dragons coming at him.
And it's so funny too, because when we interviewed Steve S.S. Wilson last week, he specifically mentioned like the part where they're like, "Oh no, all the horses are running loose," as like a time where the horses were actually running loose planned, and they were like, "Oh, well, all right, let's make that part of the movie." Like, so that was great. So no one survives except for Juan and Hiram.
Yeah.
And they have to walk on rocks all the way back to town, as we've seen other people do many times before.
And again, getting back to how Tremors is very good as a series of being inclusive of, like, you don't think that Juan, when you see him at the beginning of the movie, that he's going to be like the main heroic character. Yeah. But he is. And he's kind of like, he's the one who's figuring out things that happens, and Hiram
is useless.
And bumbling,
which is so great,
and is basically. I wish that we saw more sequels where we saw the characters that we love playing against type. And again, like it is kind of a gimmick of go back to the Old West and have it be a thing, but it knows exactly what the fan base wants, and it's kind of it's something that Steve said in an interview with us. He's like, well, I'm a nerd, and what do I want to see as a nerd? And that's exactly how Michael Gross plays this role, and it's super fun.
Yeah, it's like, the movie's called Tremors 4: The Legend Begins, and like not only is it like the first time they're interacting with graboids, but it's also like you start to see how Bert
the Gummer legend
ancestors of Bert became like what they are, because it's just great to see him play. Yeah, like you said, playing against type. The whole movie, he's like can't handle a gun. He's like scared of stuff.
He's like, I don't own a firearm. I'm against.
He's not like cool man in charge.
No,
knows everything about weapons guy yet.
And it's not just Bert too. Obviously the Changs, Walter later comes from them, and then Juan. They don't like specifically say in the movie, but he keeps talking about his ranch and how it's his family's dream to have this ranch. He's saving his money, and S.S. Wilson did later confirm that Miguel is descended from Juan distantly. So awesome. It's just kind of nice, because like we were really sad when he died in that last movie, and so it's nice to kind of see like this cool story of where his family came from.
Yeah. So they head back to town, and they decide that they need to hire someone to help them because, like we said, Hiram doesn't know anything about guns. He's too vicious.
Hiram hires.
Yeah. He spares no expense.
Exactly. He's like, we need to kill these things. What do we need? Some sort of gun? I can't fire a gun. We need some sort of gun fighter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So they have to use the telegraph to get someone.
Yeah. And who here knows how to use a telegraph?
I did.
Sam?
They put a piece of green tape on that metal clicking part, and so I would just click, and that thing would just stay still, and they had it green screened in after. So I'm not sure if there's actually a message in that Morse code.
That's funny.
But it wasn't what I was clicking.
Yeah, we were wondering if you really learned Morse code.
Yeah,
for your
if they
role.
taught you how to do it or
if
something.
You had super method.
That's actually like a super subtle, amazing VFX shot.
Yeah,
like, I'm actually impressed.
I did not even notice.
Good job, SS.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, and around this time too, I think we get the bike situation.
Oh yeah,
where because when they first went, Hiram tried to ride his bike, which of course broke within 2 seconds.
Right.
And while he's gone, and later on, Fu Yien ends up fixing the bike for him, and he's like, "Oh, great, thanks." But then he's like, "All right, well, where's my $5 for fixing this?" And they kind of, I don't know. That's kind of like your second big interaction with him,
right? I think that's the start of the part of the film where we see his redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
I'm trying to use the lesson that he taught me, and it gets him. And then there's a big pause, and he's all right. You got me. After that pause, then you kind of see the start of his. You know what?
Yeah, and they're like friendship kind
Right.
of. There was a scene too when they first leave, and it's this big joke that Hiram doesn't have a gun. That you give him your slingshot.
My slingshot.
Yeah,
Right,
which is
right.
like really nice considering he screwed you over with that cake. Like,
He's just a good kid.
yeah.
That's right.
Do you know how to use a slingshot?
They actually let me play around with the slingshot, but it was nothing serious, no formal training.
Didn't bring Hollywood's foremost
You will wake
slingshot
up at
expert
6
in.
a.m. for slingshot training 101.
Then go to 2 hours of school, and then we'll
Yeah.
start shooting.
I would-
Then we'll
I-
start shooting.
You didn't train with the FBI's at FBI at Quantico to do slingshot target practice.
Sniper slingshot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's all they had back in the day, you know. So back in the Wild West.
Yeah. All right, so after we send out the telegram, who do we get?
We get Black Hand Kelly,
Black Hand.
played by Billy Drago.
And
Drago?
Billy Drago is the type of actor that you feel like that you recognize from everything.
Yeah.
And like he's kind of this everyman embodiment of evil
Yeah.
in a way that's fantastic.
I love his introduction where I think it's Sam's character who's
Where I
like,
see him in the
yeah,
shadow.
you see him in the shadow behind him, and
Right.
you're like, what? Because it's like a thunderstorm, and he just appears out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
fun, so fun.
Because yeah, they basically sent a cable out that says like gunfighter needed,
Price negotiable. Yeah.
And so this guy just shows up.
And that's like another thing too about Fu Yien, Sam's character, is that he never like screams like a little kid or gets scared. He's always like, you know, he's startled, but it's very like he got his wits about him.
My God, there's a badass outside.
Yeah. Like you don't cry, you don't
Who's
scream
that?
and or you know like cower in fear or anything like that, which is
Right.
cool.
Yeah. No, I think I wanted to go with the direction where, you know, I was excited. I wanted to fight as well, but
Yeah.
I was too young. At least I think that, you know, if I didn't think that, then Steve put that in my head. You know?
Which I think is like a testament to I think why there's Tremors 4 and then 5 and 6 is the kind of the love and craft of that Steve and everyone else at Stampede kind of put into these movies, and they always treat everybody, even if they're the lowliest person that you wouldn't think maybe needs respect, they're always treated with respect, and they always have agency. And I think it's really interesting of, you know, we were talking about in the interview of how some of the stuff you didn't even think about of we talk about like, well, these movies are really inclusive and they have strong female characters. And he's like, well, we were just trying to play against stereotypes from the movies we were kind of playing off from the 50s. I didn't really think about it, but there is a lot of respect for just human beings and children and just the way the characters are written. Everyone has agency. Nobody is superfluous or silly unless they're that shitty teenager who becomes a real estate broker.
Yeah.
They really hate him.
Everyone knows teenagers suck.
Everyone knows, yeah.
No matter
Yeah,
who
that
they
kind
are.
of, you touched on something that reminded me of our interview again with S.S. Wilson. He talked about kind of the history of Chang's Market and how the actor who played Walter Chang in the first movie was Chinese, and even though the market was supposed to be a Vietnamese market, and he was like, hey guys, I'm actually Chinese, and they were like, oh cool, let's change it and make it a Chinese market. Like, I don't know, Sam, if you have like what you think about kind of the Asian representation in this movie and the other Tremors films.
No, I did not know that it was originally a Vietnamese character turned into Chinese. That's awesome. My family background is Chinese Vietnamese. My grandparents are both Chinese, but they moved over to Vietnam to do business.
Wow.
So my parents were born there, and then during the war they came over, went to refugee camps, and then made their way over to America. As far as representation, I mean, we were the only Asians in the town, you know.
Yeah.
we had jokes, you know, inside jokes on set about it, but no, it was fun. You know, it was great to have that dynamic in the movie, and you know, now how many years later is when I can actually appreciate it. I don't think I knew I was as aware back then,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, and I mean, they're a major part of the town, and, you know, there's a few kind of jokes about let's go back to China, or she's got her I Ching sticks or whatever, but it's never, like, over the top. I don't think there's anything that's, like, super offensive or super racist.
Right.
They're shown to be all very smart characters, and especially towards the end in the big climactic scene where the mom is actually the one that's really protecting you in that wagon, even more than the dad who's kind of off to the side, and I thought that was a great scene for her.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's an an interesting thing with Hiram too, where he, spoiler alert, he leaves and then comes back. And, what the thing that he does as a rich guy who is not capable of really defending anything, is empowering everybody in this town to defend themselves and defend the things that they want. And it's not like, oh, you don't get a gun, you don't get, it's everyone in the town is equal and valid and better than him because they're willing to fight for something that he didn't realize that he was willing to fight for.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to the next interaction with the Graboids.
That's right.
So we got Blackhand Kelly there to help.
Yes.
They end up hearing
Blackhand Kelly has his doubts.
Yes. But so they end up going back out because someone else from the town had gone to...
They're just going out to look, and then they happen to see old Fred's wagon in the field.
That's right, yeah.
And Juan's like, oh no, and so they go check it out.
Juan's like, we called him Old Fred because he was old.
Yeah. That's great.
So then they end up getting trapped in this barn, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
With the
It's
Graboid.
the muling station, they
Yes.
keep calling it.
Yep.
And the whole point, the reason they went there is because there's large wooden beams on the ground that the Graboids can't get
Right, because
through.
they're loading wagons. At one point, Hiram wants to go back to town, and Blackhand's like, "Fuck that! Like we're already out here. It's 2 days ride." And they're like, "We could go further out," and they're like, "Well, that should make sense. There's no way they could break through the
Right.
the ground of this muling station."
No
and
way.
everyone who's watching the movie is like, "They can break through fucking anything."
Oh, we know.
You dum-dums.
And we get this. So the Graboids are attacking, and they got they still have those snake tentacles that come out of the
through
mouth.
this, they kind of figure out the situation. Like, oh, those aren't snakes; those are tongues.
Right.
Kelly is slow to learn. He unloads most of his bullets shooting the tongues.
He's the slowest to learn.
Yes.
We also
He was
You
really
may say
proud
he-
of it.
Yeah.
He was really, really
He was
proud of
very
it.
proud.
Yeah. He may never fully learn.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go out and say that he doesn't.
also before this, they do come across the eggs, so they do know there's 3
Yes.
left. One's been killed by Juan already, and there's 3 left.
One interesting lore thing that they bring up is that a hot spring was burst
Yeah.
basically when they were a la Journey to the Center of the Earth, of when they were digging through the mine, and they think that maybe the heat of the hot spring is the thing that made the eggs hatch,
Yeah.
which is good for Tremors lore. Who knows if it'll come up later on if heat is the thing that activates them? I'm going to say no. But
We'll find out. Yeah.
You know, when Blackhand Kelly finds those eggs and makes that line about if these are their eggs, this must have come from one big chicken. I think that's probably my favorite line from throughout the movie.
Yeah, that was great.
So eventually, of course, the Graboids and their tongues figure out that they can pull the floor beams out one by one, which is kind of a cool,
It
device.
looks really cool.
it looks great.
Every movie, these Graboids figure out new ways to thwart the best laid plans of our heroes.
Yeah.
And this was just yet another kind of cool, inventive way to show
I
this.
was
love just out of everything, I love the fact that the core creative team of Tremors so far have made it like we cannot kill a Graboid the same way.
Yes.
Like we can't kill something the same way ever.
Yeah.
And so every time it's like, okay, well, what do we do next? Like there's nothing that's repeated.
Yeah, and this is a great set piece where it's kind of like you're in the trash compactor where the walls are closing in or something, except the floor is slowly getting taken away.
Yeah, you have less
It's like
and
a
less
timer for them.
places,
They're like,
yeah.
what are we going to do? We got to get out of here. I just really like that. And just the visuals of the snakes grabbing this what looks like a really heavy beam and pulling it out is really cool.
And the weight that they were able to achieve with it, like it feels like it's heavy. It feels like the miniatures and the effects shots that they were able to get feel tactile.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
At some point, they realize they got to call back to the town for help. So Juan starts basically telegraphing gibberish back to Chang's market, and Fu Yien kind of is able to figure out, oh, hey, it's coming from the muling station, and there
Right.
couldn't possibly be anyone else there.
I have a thing that I'm confused about with this.
Okay.
And it's not rational, and we don't have to spend too much time on it.
Go on.
But they're like, oh, well, it's from Carson City. And it's like, Carson City is so far north. It's ridiculously far north. It's like a 6-hour drive north.
But at that time, would that have been the only, like...
Yes.
Okay.
But where Perfection is in the first movie, it is much more southern, like Arizona border type. So it's like, oh, well, it must be coming from Carson City. Just as I grew up in Nevada, and I was just like, huh. Where is Perfection?
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
would have
have.
never even thought about that.
Yes, Nevada. Carson City is basically Reno, which is a couple hours east of Sacramento if you're driving, which is far,
Pretty far.
to
go on a horse.
From although Hiram makes it there in a day, so he must be pretty good on a horse.
Oh my goodness.
This doesn't the
okay. So Christine comes to bail them out of the muling station.
Is this where we get a scene where someone rides a graboid for like 2 seconds?
Yes.
Ooh,
We
yeah,
did predict
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
one gets to ride
We
it.
finally get the riding
Which
the
I
graboid.
thought was happening in the second movie.
Yeah.
And I was excited for a whole graboid rodeo subplot.
This scene was great. Like, so, in the first movie, they have a scene where the graboid bursts through the ground of the market through the boards there.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like they made this one look even more like fantastical. Like, it's just like, it just looks like a bigger explosion as it comes up. And I just love that in this movie, I feel like, more than Tremors 3, like put even more focus on like miniatures.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And actual puppets and stuff instead of having more of a reliance on CG, which I thought was great. So that was great. The graboid comes up underneath Juan, and he's like on the back of it, like, oh god,
It's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah. So cool looking.
And Black and Kelly gets to ride inside it.
Yeah, he gets his own Jurassic Park moment.
That's right.
Like, no, being on it is not good enough.
That's right.
He goes out shooting though, as he would have wanted.
And before he goes, he imparts some firearm knowledge to Mr. Gummer, and it seems that Mr. Gummer passes that down through the generations.
Yes.
Because he becomes kind of a gun nut.
It's his first like inkling of being
Yeah.
excited.
And
about
that you got to
guns.
have the right gun for the right job.
Right.
You got to know your enemy. So yes, as I said, Christine does come on the wagon to save them because for some reason the other guys left town for convenience so that she could be the one to come save them.
Yeah.
So Juan and Hiram jump into the wagon and they speed back to town, and we get one of the coolest shots that we've ever had. Justin, do you want to?
Yeah, so they're on this stagecoach riding back, and Hiram's like, "Is he following us?" And Juan's like, "I think so." And they look back, and
they cross a bridge.
Yeah, they're about to cross a bridge, and it cuts to this kind of like wide shot of the stagecoach crossing the bridge, and you see the graboid underneath the bridge go from one side to the other, and it like hits the bridge as it goes through, and it's like the first time that we've kind of seen in the other movies like some images of what it looks like when the graboid's moving, but we never really get to see it.
You get like a full side view in silhouette of it tunneling through,
Which
like
we've never
of
seen.
how much ease it has going through the
which
sand.
is like this extremely impressive miniature thing that they made. I mean, not even miniature, like I don't know if it's like quarter scale or something. It's not.
It's a miniature in practice, but like it looks fantastic.
Yeah, and the special features, it's still pretty big. It's not like
Yeah.
It's not like a tiny thing they built.
So when we say miniature, it's not like
It's
people
not like
are
a
using
toy.
tweezers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a quarter scale thing or something, but it just looks so great, and it's just an image of the graboid that we have never seen before, and I loved, like I think I said this in the interview with Steve as well, that I just love that even in movie number 4, they're still finding ways to like surprise us, show new things.
Yep, absolutely.
And we did get at this point, and then one other time in the movie, we get a like first-person graboid perspective shot, which I think at one point I was joking around that the next sequel should be all from the graboid perspective.
A la Benji?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we do get a couple shots like where the graboid basically gets tired out because they're on horses at this point. He's like, all right, fine, let him go. And
Yeah,
you see him
never
just
mind.
kind of like, like.
Which is something that in the first
Over it.
movie we see them, like, they're scared to ride the horses. But I guess we don't really see him test it.
Yeah. So, we get back to the town, and the whole town, Hiram's gonna leave. He's ready to leave.
Hiram's like, fuck it. Well, we found out that Hiram is actually not rich.
Yes.
That he is poor and everything that he has to him, which I think is kind of a bold story move. And
Well, wasn't he just waiting for a bank transfer?
No, he says that, but it's crap.
Oh, okay.
Really, all he's got is the cufflinks, the watch. And
no,
the
his
coin.
is basically his father cut him out.
Right.
So like the mine is the only thing that he has, and then he's willing to not. He doesn't want to risk his life for the money. He's like, you know what? Like I have wealth. I'm of wealth. I can go back to Philly. I can make something. You guys, I don't give a shit. Go.
Yeah, and
do
he already
whatever.
paid
I'm
Black
outta
Hand
here.
Kelly the cufflinks and the coin, and so he's got nothing now because it's inside the graboid, ostensibly.
Yep.
And so he's got nothing but the watch at this point.
Yep.
And so he decides to leave, and he's like, "I'm going to sell the mine, before anybody finds out what happened." And
Well, didn't he give up the mine to stay at the hotel or something?
no, well, this is like what happens.
Yeah.
Is Christine says like, you have to settle your bill with me. You haven't paid. And he's like, I want the mine. And he's like, well, you can't have the mine because I'm going to go sell it. And the whole town voted, much like the whole town voted against Melvin in the last film. The whole town votes, and they're like, if you leave and don't give us the mine, we're going to, telegraph to everyone.
Well, telegraph. We're going to
Yeah.
say like this mine's uninhabitable.
Yeah,
like
there's
you
monsters,
Yep.
all this crazy
Don't
stuff.
buy it.
Yep.
So he just takes off anyway. He's like, fine, take the mine. And he leaves.
Yep.
And you beg him not to leave, Sam.
With his bicycle as well.
Yeah.
That was, no, he just wanted his hot bath.
That's right.
You
That's
can't
right.
stop a man from taking a hot bath.
That's true. That's true.
It's a tale as old as time. And so he heads up to Carson City, and it turns out that the graboids clear the valley. They thought that they were relatively safe in the town because there was a rock floor or something. And Hiram is up in Carson City. He magically transported up there. I will stress. And he like the telegraph operator's like, oh, like these fucking loonies, like look at these dum-dums talking about monsters. And he sees it and he's like, oh shit, like they're gonna die. I need to do something.
Yeah. So he buys a bunch of guns.
So he
a
gives into his
cannon.
blood. He gives into his right.
He sells that watch, and he uses all the money. He comes back. We get the classic Tremors, let's hand everybody a gun
Yes.
scene.
Yeah.
He suddenly knows everything about guns. He's like, this one has an impressive rate of fire.
Yeah.
And all this, like, this is the MK-45. No,
Yeah,
that's
every
not
single
what it's
person
called,
gets
but
a
yeah.
gun, and they come up with this big plan. They're going to make noise. They're going to lure the graboids, and then they're going to kill them with the big cannon thing.
So the cannon thing is it's a punt gun is what it's called, which is actually a real gun.
I was like, is it real? Because
Yeah.
it just looked like...
It is real. So a punt is like a dinghy boat that you put on a lake, and a punt gun is something that you mount on the deck of this boat, and you basically send your dog out and make a bunch of noise, and a whole flock of ducks will fly up, and then you fire this gun once, and there's so much buckshot that it can kill an entire flock of ducks.
Jeez.
I mean, yay.
It did just, yeah, it did just look like a fake giant shot.
Right. But it is 100% real.
That's
Okay.
crazy, yeah. Oh my god.
Hiram misses the first time a graboid comes up.
Yeah.
Oh, I did like too how Lou, the Chang, the mom, she puts like all these
Canned
makes these
beans,
canned
canned
trees.
She,
Yeah.
she takes the Grady approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did like your line, Sam, again, where she's like, "Hurry up, give me the more cans." He's like, "I'm eating as fast
As
as
soon
I
as I can, yeah. I actually had a mouthful of beans in my mouth.
Oh, no.
And
That's
I really was trying to eat as fast as I could.
It's so funny. Like, it's kind of a little bit funny, like that immigrant or Asian mindset of like, well, we're not going to waste this food,
Right,
even though we need the
exactly.
cans. Like, you better eat the beans.
Right.
You know? Like,
Yeah, right.
the kid's like, I'm not hungry. hungry. I just ate beans. You know? So that was great and very clever for
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Indeed.
So then we get the big old set piece of the big battle at the end.
So Bert kills one, right? With the he shoots one of them with
With the punt gun. Yeah.
And then I was going to ask you, Sam, what was it like being in that scene with all of the graboid, like, puppet special effects things happening? Like, what was it hard to, like, keep acting scared even though it was, like, you could see all the dudes, like, controlling it or whatever?
Yeah. I guess in between takes, it was more, I was, really, it was really awesome to see. When it came time to shoot, it wasn't too hard to keep my focus. Those tongues they actually had those tongues coming out, at us. The shot where they wrap around my arm, that was a reverse shot. So,
that makes sense.
So that was the way they did it. They had it creep up, and then they had me wrap around and then pretend to reverse it, as they pulled it away. When we did that scene, that was, I think I was really into the moment and trying to make it work, because that was, as far as my whole time there, that was the most exciting, movement that I got to do. So I think all that was just exciting and just really, really good experience.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know. I keep going back to saying that this was such a great experience, and I never really said that out loud. Like, I was always a little, I was in the fourth one. I don't think you know which one that is, right. But now, talking about it, I realize how much fun I had being on that set and working with those guys.
Well, it's something that we talked about with Steve, and we kind of wrapped up the interview with. But like, there's amount of love in these movies and care in terms of this universe, and that they're really thinking about things, and they care about the characters, and it's not. We have not done on this podcast talked about a fourth movie in a series where the original people are so involved and caring in terms of playing by the rules that they established. And still making it, it's not bringing some other character back just to exploit them for their popularity. Like, everybody in the movie is written as a character. It's written as as a script that you would turn in even if it was the first movie in a franchise. And there's something special about these movies, and I think that's why there's fucking 6 of them.
I did like, too, in this big last battle scene, we get yet another really creative way to kill one of the graboids, Tacopa, the Native American
It's like, have we even mentioned Tacopa
yet?
yet?
Yeah,
he's great.
Yeah.
So Christine Lord has a
friend,
where Hiram confuses him as, like, your man. She's
Yeah.
like, she's not my man. He's my friend. He's a Native American. He's Tacopa. And earlier on in the movie, he is digging a flagpole.
Yep.
And Christine's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm digging a flagpole for the Nevada state flag. And she's like, there's no Nevada state flag. Which Nevada became a state in 1864. It's 1889.
She just said they hadn't adopted a flag yet.
I think that
maybe it takes a long time.
I think that the flag was around. But
I don't know.
but I was just like, yeah, Battleborn, motherfucker! Like, dig that flagpole. And
it's
I
just
just
a throwaway because he's just like, oh yeah, I'm building a
absolutely
Yeah, you're like,
and-
what was that for?
But it's absolutely a true thing of, like, people like Nevada statehood. If you don't know anything about it, I could do an entire podcast about it.
Okay, but don't.
Basically,
Nobody cares.
All you need to know is that it was a Civil War Union state. They needed it was about the silver. It was about Abraham Lincoln. And it was about votes in the Senate. So there was a lot of state pride for Nevada. We had no business becoming a state. We did not meet any of the requirements. None of them. It was all political, but because of that, there was everyone who was there and settlers where it had a lot of pride. So the fact that he was digging a flagpole was awesome. And then the fact that he used that flagpole to then kill a graboid is maybe my favorite movie moment ever.
It was great. So at
was
some
really
point, Juan is pulled up on the telephone pole, much like a throwback to that the first death we ever saw in the first Tremors movie. And the graboid is pulling the the telephone pole lower and lower, and Juan's on there. And so Tacopa.
Fun fact about the telephone pole thing.
Telegraph.
Telegraph pole.
Oh yeah,
Telegraph pole.
What am I even saying?
Sorry. Oh my God, it's 1889. Jesus. SS Wilson said on the Blu-ray that like that was something that they've been trying to get in for like multiple movies, and he's like, it showed up in the script like 2 times before they finally got to do it.
Well, old Fred. I hate you because you were talking about it before, and I wanted to say old Greg.
His name should be old
His
Fred.
name is Fred, old Fred.
No, but from the first movie of being stuck on the power line, I feel like that was a very good callback, and they wanted the telephone pole.
Totally.
Yeah.
So Tacopa takes his really long saw and sticks it down the flagpole hole.
It's
starts
like that. It's like
hitting
that 2-man saw thing that you see that cuts down like
Yeah,
redwoods.
he hits it to make a bunch of noise, and almost unintentionally, because I don't think he had this planned, the graboid goes for the saw instead and just impales itself on the saw.
Which is a throwback to the first movie when it kills itself in the concrete barrier wall.
Kind of, yeah, but I think with a saw is really
more
cool.
awesome, and it has a great shot of like the goop and gore oozing up from the sand.
Yeah.
which I had not seen, and I
liked
that
it
shot.
a lot. So that was another creative way to kill a graboid.
That is my favorite way to kill a graboid with Nevada State Pride.
Great.
Okay, so I mean, they win. They kill them all.
Yeah, the last one they
The steam engine.
Steam engine.
they trick it to coming to the surface and then attach like a hook to it and pull it with the steam engine all the way until it explodes against the steam engine.
And this is the most gory death we get to see, and I love that every Tremors movie has an explosive, gory nonsense.
And
moment.
the gore explodes on everyone, just like it has to.
It has to. It has to.
Do you know what that material is? It always looks like pumpkins to me.
It was a bunch of, I think they put a bunch of things into a bucket and mixed it, but it was mainly a bunch of gel and silicone, just like you know, the graboid skin, just chunks of it, and they had us all, you know, behind the camera, literally take handfuls with gloves. When they yelled action, we would just literally toss handfuls of.
That's
That is
so
so fun that you got to do that.
It was really, really fun.
It feels like that all these movies are just so collaborative and so much of just no ego of just like, hey guys, like we're making something that we care about. Like we're all here, like doing the same thing. Let's just make it and make it great.
Yeah.
And I think that really it comes through in every frame of all these movies. And the fact that is not surprising to me. That they're like, hey, this crazy gore scene, like everybody take a handful, let's throw it. Like,
That's
but
so
my
cool.
main question is, what did it smell like?
It was not bad smelling at all. It smelled like I guess plastic.
Okay.
What the vinyl, what the material that the graboid skin was made out of. I don't know. I would assume it's silicone, but it just smelled. Yeah, it wasn't foul.
That's so funny.
We kind of skipped over a little bit. Another one of your really big scenes is the collapse of the market on top of you. I didn't know if there's anything you wanted to mention about that.
That was, I guess, the most. Of course, I wasn't in there at the time.
Yes.
Again, it was exciting. Anything in the movie, any parts of the movie where I was able to run or scream, I think it showed, in the final product, how excited I was when I did these scenes. When that house dropped, I was same. I was excited. I was excited to see how that market would actually drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was on set that day when they dropped it, and it was so awesome. It was, super safe, super awesome, super fun. After they had it go down, they had me climb into the little tent and, cut my way out. It was just so much fun, everything now that I think about it.
Yeah. So you talked about how you were already into martial arts and that's how you got into acting, but did your experience of being on set for this film and seeing all the special effects and the stunt work, how did that influence what you're doing now and why you wanted to go into that world further?
As I, excuse me, when we finished Tremors, I was really motivated to continue and hone in on my skills for acting. As I got kind of to the high school level, I was supposed to, I was getting into more serious dialogue, and that was, more serious roles. But my face, I was still 10 years old. I was still 8 years old. So it was really hard for me to get parts that were, more serious, or parts that, would further my career a little more. I kind of faded away from acting, started focusing on school. I went to UC Irvine. And after that, I came back, and I'd still been doing martial arts this whole time. My love of martial arts, I guess, kept me in the Hollywood business. I was, even though I wasn't going out for auditions as much anymore during that time, I was still going and training and practicing my martial arts, my physical skills. And throughout college, I was always looking up to my coach, stunt woman, superwoman. I wanted to be her. I wanted to follow her. So, the first chance I got, every chance I got, I would ask her, Coach Ming, I'm ready. Take me in. Let's do stunts. I can perform. And I asked her a couple times when I was still in school, and she was saying, Hollywood will always be here for you. Finish your school. You've got a year left. 2 years left.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for that. But after school, I came back in, started networking and put myself out there, and then started establishing myself as a stuntman. Haven't looked back since. It's I enjoy the physical performing part of it.
Do you want to talk at all about like what some of your favorite roles have been since Tremors?
Acting wise, I would say Tremors was probably my favorite because I was so involved in that film, and it was such an experience, where I was able to learn, I was able to have fun, and I was able to, really hone in on my craft. After that, I was mainly doing, national commercials, stuff for, young kids look type of gigs. When I came into stunts, I basically wanted to stay in the business, but, try to find another direction, see what else I could do in the business. So, with my foot halfway in the door, I decided to try out stunts. Navigating Hollywood wasn't the easiest, during that time, but now, as I learn more, I'm becoming more involved, and, just excited to see where this takes me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wonderful. So do we want to wrap up the movie?
I had one other question.
Oh, go for it.
I don't know if you've seen these or not, but on the Blu-ray, there's a bunch of deleted scenes, and I noticed that you're in a lot of them. So what's that about?
You know what? I don't know. I have probably watched the deleted scenes before. I don't recall any of them. Is there any of them that you...
Yeah, there's, I wanted to bring it up as a joke, but also as, just to say that, like, there's actually some of the scenes that got deleted are some great scenes, some extra scenes between you and Bert that, like, add to that relationship even more. So if anyone out there has the Blu-ray or DVD, or I don't know if you can search them up on YouTube, maybe even, there's one where you're like, not Bert, sorry, Hiram is like unpacking his clothes, and you're like making fun of the clothes that he wears.
Oh, right, the ruffled t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do remember that.
The puffy shirt.
And there's a whole scene. There's a whole scene where with him taking a shower underneath the underneath the water tower that you're like making fun of that.
Yes,
too.
yes.
There's lots of great scenes that like I was like, oh, I can't believe they cut these out. Like, there's another great like dynamic between you guys that I thought. Was
Yeah,
cool.
I think we shot a lot of great things. I think the final product came out close to 2 hours, right? So it was there was a lot of stuff to put in there already. So as long as they got the message across, that little Fu Yien could teach Hiram a lesson or two.
Definitely did. One other question kind of about Tremors is, have you had any interaction over the years with like the really intense fan base? Have you run into anybody or done any events or anything?
You know what? I have not. I have been approached for another interview a couple years ago, and at the time I was still in school, so I didn't really, I wasn't really involved, and I don't know if I responded and said no, or if I didn't respond. If I didn't, and you're listening, I'm so sorry. I do apologize.
They're still holding that grudge.
Sam
Lee never responded.
Oh, great. Well, we get to reintroduce you to the fan base then. I'm excited for that.
Well, thank you.
Well, I think that is going to bring us to the end of our Tremors discussion for this episode.
What what we like to do on these episodes, Sam, is give each movie a rating, and you can totally opt out if you want. It's totally fine.
Or you can be biased. We don't care.
Yeah. That's right. But let's say, how many out of 10 Dirt Dragons would you give this movie?
I'm gonna give it. Oh, go ahead.
No, please go first.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it 8 Dirt Dragons.
Oh, okay.
I was also going to say 8 Dirt Dragons. This is this almost maybe beats the original for me. I liked it so much.
Oh, wow. That's
I really
cool.
did.
It was incredibly fun.
I'm going to stay with 7, which is kind of like what I rated the original.
Yep.
Again, I'm just surprised and in a great way that these movies are still great. And I'm having fun with them.
Fantastic.
They're charming. They're funny. They're inventive. I think it's great.
Yep.
Sam?
I would agree with you guys. I'm about at a 7 or 8, but now this was considering not watching it for a while.
Sure.
But I think after coming back to it, recently, I realized how much fun I had, and what a personal experience it was. It's still one of the biggest, most involved experiences on set for me. In terms of working. So, on those lines, I'd give it a 10 for experience.
That's great. And for your performance, I'll give you 10 pieces of cake.
Oh, thank you. Make sure it's gingerbread.
Gingerbread cake. Yeah.
Make sure it's gingerbread.
All right. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yes.
If you want to listen to more episodes, you can find us at sequelrights.com. And we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. We truly appreciate it.
And Sam, thank you so much for being here. Is there anywhere that people can reach out to you, keep in touch with you? Are there any projects you're working on that you want to,
I've been working on a couple projects, but that's all on my my IMDb page. Social media, I've been told to start my Instagram. And my Facebook is just my personal posts. So apologies if I don't accept anyone on Facebook, but watch out for my Instagram. It'll come.
We'll be waiting.
I'll be
it's
posting
happening.
Pictures.
And we'll link the IMDb onto
absolutely.
the site there.
Thank you so much for being here.
It was fantastic.
You're here for the end of an era for Tremors here.
Yes.
Tremors 4. Next week, we're moving into... we're jumping ahead several years. We go from 2004 to 2015 for Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Awesome. And this is the one that Eliz has seen,
This
right?
is my introduction to the Tremors franchise that I happened to watch with my friend when we were desperate for something to watch on Netflix while doing a jigsaw puzzle.
So don't spoil it for us.
I will not spoil it. I will not give a prediction, but what do you guys think is going to happen?
I think that we're going to feel the absence of Stampede Entertainment.
Yeah. That's something that we know going in now.
But I feel like that Michael Gross will probably still shine.
Bloodlines, yeah. There must be some sort of connection. Are we going to get to see another incarnation of Bort
Gummer?
Bort Gummer. He eats guns. I don't know. He loves him so much he eats them. Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah.
Well, we will find out next week.
Yes, we will. See
Yeah.
you then. And thanks again, Sam.
Yep.
Thank
Bye.
you.